She's everywhere. Lucienne's signature is in the airwaves, in private servers, even inside unencrypted dream cycles. She's broadcasting from inside people's convictions.
I can feel her, not as sound, not as image, as intent. She's climbing the scaffolding of belief itself.
Then she's no longer a person, she's a weaponized story.
That means she's vulnerable in the same way a story is. Overexposure, contradiction, or silence. But until then, she owns half of Europe.
Her signal is metastasizing. Algorithms are already shifting to accommodate her. Stock exchanges have registered a 0.7% correction in her favor, as if she were a market force. Film pitches, art installations, even graffiti tags appearing across Paris, all bearing her mark.
She's colonizing culture.
And culture colonizes us.
I tore her framework apart, but she inverted it. She's not dead. She's alive in everyone. If we chase her like an enemy, she'll only become stronger. Belief loves resistance.
Then what do you propose?
We seed a counter-narrative, something stronger than her script.
And who decides that story, you?
Enough. Every second we argue, Lucienne grows. What you faced in the Odeon proves one thing. Crane's not waiting for us to catch up. He's orchestrating this. Lucienne was just another door. Now we've stepped through.
Then we're close to the final node.
The hologram shifted. 12 resonance keys hovered, glowing faintly, each tied to a bloodline the team had intercepted in fragments since Gruner's mountain vault. 11 were accounted for. Only one remained. The last key pulsed with a deep crimson hue.
Matthias Crane, the mind behind it all.
The safe house hummed with unease. Outside, Montmartre's streets were alive with Paris's nocturnal pulse. Music drifting from cafe doors, laughter echoing off cobblestones, and, layered beneath it, Lucienne's new frequency. Posters of her face glowed on walls where an hour before there had been none. Phones buzzed with her words. Conversations twisted mid-sentence into rehearsed praise.
She's already rewriting this city's identity. We can't stay here long.
Udoka's gaze lingered on Layla, whose trembling hands betrayed the cost of the counterscript she'd burned through her veins. The girl's resilience reminded Udoka of the temple stories she'd grown up with, the warrior poets of old who fought with words as sharp as steel.
You rest! The rest of us plan the next step!
If I rest, she gets stronger. If I fight, at least she knows she hasn't silenced me.
That's exactly why you need to live. Because she hasn't silenced you.
The silence that followed was broken by the faintest hum. A childlike tune, half familiar. All heads turned. Layla's lips weren't moving, yet the sound came from her.
Resonance bleed. She's still connected to Lucienne's network, even unplugged.
She's singing through me.
Udoka's training came flooding back. Old Shaolin breathwork layered over guardian resonance. She stepped close, pressed 2 fingers to Layla's wrist and whispered in Yoruba. Emi reyu da bo bo o.
Your spirit will protect you. Then she shifted into a kata that looked like Tai Chi's slow grace, but pulsed with internal power, channeling breath and motion into a living barrier. The air thickened around Layla, the parasitic hum faltering. Layla gasped, collapsing against the table.
You fused martial forms with resonance shielding?
I borrowed from the past. Sometimes survival remembers before we do.
Always full of secrets, aren't you?
But beneath the brief levity, the tension only grew heavier, because Lucienne wasn't gone. She was waiting. 2 hours later, the team reconvened in the underground metro tunnels beneath Gare du Nord. The safe house was compromised. Lucienne's influence spread too quickly above ground.
Lucienne's frequency has already breached Zurich, Milan, and Prague. At this pace, she'll have seeded 70% of Europe within 48 hours. His last confirmed presence was Geneva, but the signal trail leads east, toward the Carpathians.
Classic. Old myth country. Perfect for a final act.
That fits. Crane has always hidden behind ancient frameworks, bending them into his design. If he's there, we'll find him.
If he's there, we'd better be ready for more than just him. Lucienne was his narrative gambit. Gruner was his genetics gambit. Fatima his sonic gambit. Sinclair his memory gambit. He's testing us with every face of human evolution.
And now?
Now he becomes the sum of them all.
The train tunnel quaked faintly as a passing service car rumbled above. Shadows stretched across the team's faces.
He's not just waiting in the Carpathians. He's building something. I felt it when Lucienne inverted her script. She wasn't just uploading herself. She was paving the way for him.
Paving how?
He's using belief as fuel. Every person who accepts Lucien's voice adds power to his node. When we face him, he'll be carrying the weight of millions.
So he's going to be a god.
No, he'll be pretending to be one. That's what makes him dangerous.
Then we strip the mask.
The tunnel lights flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed them whole. At first it seemed like a simple outage, but then the air shifted. A whisper crawled through the dark, not sound, but thought.
Why are you running in circles?
That's not just her, that's him.
The tunnels reverberated, the concrete itself groaning like a living lung.
Every story you've told yourselves has led here. Do you see it yet? You're not fighting me. You're delivering me.
He's inside the bleed. He's speaking through her channel.
Udoka drew a steadying breath, her stance shifting instinctively into combat readiness, knees bent, center low, movements ready to flow like Bagwa's circles.
Show yourself.
I already have.
And then, from the far end of the tunnel, eyes opened, not one pair, dozens, each glowing faintly red.
We're not alone.
The eyes advanced, and as the faint emergency lights flickered back to life, the team saw what had emerged. Dozens of figures, children, the lost derivatives from Gruner's vault, reanimated, controlled Crane's army.
He's resurrected them through the bleed. We are the story now.
And then they attacked. The tunnel walls trembled as the first wave surged forward.
Udoka, move!
The nearest boy, no older than 12, lunged at her with eyes glowing crimson. His movements were too clean, too rehearsed, like choreography written into bone. Udoka dropped low into a Bagwa circle step, breath sharp in her lungs. She hooked his wrist, redirected his strike, and sent him spinning past her hip into the wall. The impact should have dazed him. It didn't. He rose immediately, face blank, and came again.
They're not stopping. Crane's turned them into puppets.
No, they're alive. He's riding their resonance. If you kill them, their threads snap back into him. He wants that.
Ramos caught a girl's wrist mid-strike, twisted and flipped her backward. She rolled, sprang up, and charged again with frightening precision. Then what do we do?
Disrupt the bleed. If I can invert the neural field...
We are the story. You cannot unwrite us.
The tunnel shuddered as dust rained from the ceiling. Udoka's jaw clenched. She exhaled, centering her weight, sliding into the rhythm of Shaolin breathwork. Her heart slowed, her body listened. Don't fight the opponent's strength, harmonize with their imbalance.
Layla, can you hear them?
Too many. It's a chorus.
Every chorus has one voice out of tune.
Layla's focus sharpened. Amid the synchrony of hundreds of borrowed heartbeats, she heard it, faint, almost drowned. A laugh, a child's laugh.
There, the girl. Third from the left.
Udoka wove through the storm of fists and kicks, her circle step guiding her like water through jagged rocks. She reached the girl, small, maybe 10 years old, hair matted with dust. Her eyes flickered, red bleeding into brown, like a candle fighting wind.
What's your name?
The chorus faltered. The children staggered mid-step, eyes twitching.
Enough.
The children froze. Dust settled in silence thick as oil. From the shadows, a figure emerged, Matthias Crane, tall, lean, his coat shimmered faintly with shifting equations stitched into the fabric as though reality bent to acknowledge him. His eyes were unglowing, steady, terrifyingly human.
You've chased shadows across continents. Now you stand before the author.
You're not the author. You're a parasite feeding on what was written long before you.
Parasite? No, parasites take. I refine, I curate, I give structure to chaos.
You enslaved children.
I liberated them from longing, from pain. They are pure potential now, unclouded by emotion. Tools, yes, but tools of transcendence.
Soldiers.
And you, guardian, you should understand. Discipline, breath, body aligned with cosmos. You call it martial training. I call it the next step of evolution. Why resist what is inevitable?
Because evolution without freedom is just another kind of death.
For the first time, Crane's composure faltered, his eyes hardened. Then you choose entropy.
He raised a hand, the children's eyes blazed red, and they moved as one. The tunnel erupted in chaos. Jerry's sword spun silver arcs, blocking blow after blow. Ramos moved like a fortress, fists hammering, redirecting strikes that landed too hard, too fast.
He's amplifying through Layla. He's riding her resonance as a bridge.
I can feel him inside me.
Udoka spun, parrying 3 simultaneous attacks. She looked at Aya, who was trembling but free of the glow.
Listen to me, you laughed once, remember it, hold on to it.
Aya blinked, breath catching. Her eyes flickered brown, the chorus faltered.
Interesting.
He lifted his other hand, and the tunnel shattered. The world dissolved into light. The floor fell away. The walls became sky. They stood now in the ruins of an ancient temple. Broken columns, red sky, echoes of fire. Around them, the children circled still, but their faces shifted, flickering like unstable projections. Jerry froze as one child's face became his brother's. Ramos staggered when another wore the face of his long-dead mentor. Chen went pale as he saw his daughter, the one he'd buried years ago, smiling at him from a stranger's body.
You fight shadows because shadows are what you are. Let me end that burden.
Udoka's heart cracked as she saw her mother. Alive, smiling, reaching for her. Her knees buckled. For a moment she wanted to reach back. The illusion wavered. Udoka blinked hard, breath steadying.
You're stronger than his story. You're alive.
Aya squeezed her hand back. The resonance pulsed. The illusion shattered. The tunnel returned, but Crane was gone. Only his voice lingered, whispering from the stone itself.
Then you've chosen war.
The ground shook. The children collapsed, unconscious, their glow fading. Silence.
The resonance just spiked. He's activated the final node.
Udoka closed her eyes. Her breath was steady, but her bones knew the truth. The war wasn't over. It was only beginning. The storm began with a whisper. Do you hear me now? The words weren't carried by sound, but by conviction itself. People in Paris froze mid-stride. A vendor at Les Halles dropped his basket of oranges. A banker outside La Défense stopped in the middle of a phone call, eyes glazing over. In Lagos, students paused mid-exam as pens slid from their fingers. In Prague, a violinist stopped bowing mid-note, the silence louder than any symphony. In Cairo, traffic halted as drivers sat slack-jawed behind steering wheels. Across cities, across continents, Lucien's voice, amplified through Crane's final node, slipped into the marrow of thought, and then the world moved with her.
Resonance spike. It's not just Europe anymore. The bleed is planetary. We're talking synchronized thought patterns across 6 continents.
She's hijacking consciousness itself.
No, he is. She's only the doorway. Crane's walking through her into everyone.
Get them out. I'll hold the bleed here long enough for you to move.
Like hell. We don't leave Guardians behind.
Then don't. Stand with me.
The team formed a circle as the resonance roared louder, like a hurricane of voices screaming from inside their skulls. And then the tunnel wall split. Figures spilled through. Not soldiers, not machines. Civilians, eyes red, faces slack, bodies moving with perfect synchronization. Parisians, tourists, workers, children, all of them blank vessels carrying Crane's script.
He's using anyone. We can't fight them. They're not enemies, they're conduits.
Then we disrupt the current.
But only for an instant. They surged again, faster, harder. Jerry's sword spun silver arcs, blocking strikes without cutting. Ramos fought like a wall, his fists redirecting bodies like waves against rock. Chen frantically mapped the resonance, searching for weak nodes. Maya covered Layla, her hands sparking with resonance shields. Aya clung to Udoka, trembling.
Close your eyes and listen only to your own breath.
The girl obeyed, and the storm raged on. Meanwhile, high above Paris, Crane stood on the rooftop of an unfinished skyscraper. His coat whipped in the storm wind, his eyes fixed on the glowing lattice of resonance now pulsing across the skyline.
Every empire begins with a story. You are mine.
The city bent around him. Hours later, across fractured Europe, the Guardians were scattered. Chen and Maya fought their way through Prague's bleeding airwaves, nearly losing each other in the storm. Jerry and Ramos barely escaped Milan, pursued by resonance-hijacked soldiers who moved like machines. Udoka and Layla carried Aya eastward, guided by whispers of an old monastery where Guardian history had once hidden itself.
You can't win by refusing to kill. Every life you spare, I absorb. Every child you hesitate to strike, I claim. You're already writing my ascension.
We'll write you out.
Her words were brave, but even she felt the storm pressing harder, harder, harder. And then, silence. Too sudden, too heavy.
Where did he go?
Udoka turned east. Far on the horizon mountains rose, dark, jagged, waiting. The Carpathians. Crane wasn't gone, he was waiting. The war wasn't over, it was only beginning.